What if I told you that one of the most advanced acoustic systems in the world was built in 1616, by hand, with no computers, no software, and no modern tools, and that scientists today still travel to study it? That's not a myth. That's the Blue Mosque in Istanbul, Turkey. And by the end of this video, you're going to see it completely differently. Let's go. Welcome to Path to Islam. I'm Mohammed, and I help people understand Islam, its history, its teachings, and the civilization it built. If you're new here, subscribe. We put out content like this every week. Today we're talking about one of the most fascinating buildings in the world, the Blue Mosque. Not just what it looks like, but how it works, and what it says about Islam and the people who built it. The Blue Mosque, officially called the Sultan Ahmed Mosque, was built between 1609 and 1616 in Istanbul, Turkey. It was commissioned by Sultan Ahmed I, who was just 19 years old when construction began. The name Blue Mosque comes from the thousands of blue Islamic tiles that line the interior walls. And yes, it's stunning to look at. But the real story isn't on the walls. It's in the air. The mosque was designed by Sadefka Mehmed Aga, a student of Mimar Sinan, who is considered one of the greatest architects who ever lived. Together, their tradition of mosque design reached something incredible in the Blue Mosque, a level of acoustic engineering that took centuries for the modern world to catch up to. Here's the challenge. When you build a large stone building, sound bounces everywhere. Walk into a cathedral or a big empty hall and clap your hands. You'll hear the echo ring for seconds. That's called reverberation. Too much of it and speech becomes impossible to understand. Words blur into noise. Modern acoustic engineers spend enormous resources solving this problem. They use computer models, test different materials, adjust wall angles, install diffusion panels and absorbers. A well-designed concert hall or lecture space takes years and millions of dollars to get right. The Blue Mosque was built 400 years ago, and it got it right. When the imam leads prayer inside the mosque, his voice reaches the entire congregation, clearly, evenly, naturally. No microphone, no speakers, no digital processing. The acoustics just work. And when modern researchers bring in their equipment, they find numbers that match what the best modern spaces are designed to achieve. So how did they do it? Let's break it down. The dome structure. The Blue Mosque has one massive central dome, 43 meters high, surrounded by 4 half domes. Below those are smaller domes and arches. This cascading structure isn't just beautiful, it redirects sound. Rather than letting audio scatter randomly off flat surfaces, the curved domes gently push sound downward, toward the congregation. People hear it directly, not just as a reflection off a wall. The windows. The mosque has 260 windows. That's not typical, and their placement throughout the structure plays a role in how sound diffracts through the space. Light and sound follow similar wave principles. The architects may not have used those terms, but they understood the behavior. The tiles. Those famous blue Islamic tiles aren't just decoration. They're ceramic, slightly porous. That porosity absorbs certain high-frequency sounds that would otherwise create harsh, ringing echoes. They act as a natural acoustic treatment, one that also happens to be extraordinarily beautiful. The geometry. Every proportion of the space, the height, the width, the relationship between the central dome and the half-domes, was chosen with purpose. The architects used ratios passed down through generations of Ottoman builders. These ratios were tested in real mosques over centuries. The Blue Mosque is the refined result. Universities in Europe and the United States have gone into the Blue Mosque with modern acoustic measurement tools. What they found was striking. The reverberation time, the key measurement in acoustic design, falls within ideal ranges. The sound diffusion is even across the space. The frequency balance allows speech to remain clear even as it carries throughout the large hall. These are numbers that modern spaces work very hard to hit. One acoustic researcher described it as a building that seems to know what it's doing. That's not poetry. That's a trained engineer expressing genuine surprise. And the Blue Mosque is not alone. Many Ottoman mosques share similar properties. The tradition of building acoustically excellent prayer spaces was a feature of Islamic architecture, not an accident. Now here's why this matters beyond architecture. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim," and Islamic civilization took that seriously. Not just religious knowledge. All knowledge. Mathematics, medicine, astronomy, architecture. Al-Khwarizmi gave us algebra. Ibn Sina wrote the medical textbook used in European universities for 600 years. Al-Haytham established the foundations of optics. And Ottoman architects built mosques that acoustic engineers still study today. This is what a civilization looks like when it connects faith with knowledge. When worship and study are not opposites. When building a house of prayer is also an act of science. The Blue Mosque wasn't built to impress researchers in 2025. It was built so that Muslims could hear the words of Allah clearly, together, in one unified space. That purpose, that devotion, drove the architects to achieve something extraordinary. That legacy is real. It's documented. And it's a part of the Islamic story that the world deserves to know. If you're someone who's curious about Islam, whether you're just starting to explore it, or you're a new Muslim trying to learn more, this is one small window into a very large and beautiful world. There's so much more to discover. And that's exactly what we do here at Path to Islam. Hit subscribe if you want more content like this. Share this video with someone who would find it interesting. And drop a comment below. What part of Islamic history surprised you the most? I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.